Do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Willie Jolley coming to you live and in living color from the Jolley Studios here in Washington, D.C. And want to say greetings to everybody, Lottie, Dottie, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Jolley Marriage Show. For those who are first timers, so you know, I'm Dr. Willie Jolley.
And this is Dee.
My beautiful bride, Dee Taylor-Jolley. We're the authors of the book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, 10 Secrets to Shape a Great Marriage. And we've been married for going on 39 years and have not had an argument in over 37. And so we are very grateful to be here and to be with you. So we want to welcome you, all of you, wherever you're coming from, wherever you are around the world, whether you're watching live or you're watching on YouTube or one of the other broadcast vehicles that we have to try and share this message. Our goal when we wrote the book was to save 1 million marriages and enhance 1 million marriages. And so we are grateful for all of those who have bought the book or have been part of this and have used the principles. We want to
Used
say
and shared.
We want to say hello to Greg and Linda Kazera, watching from home in West Virginia. And a special thank you to Greg Kazera for the beautiful article he wrote. He's a syndicated columnist.
Oh, wow.
And he wrote an article where he talked about marriage and about what it takes to have a great marriage. They've been married for 46, 47 years, somewhere like that.
So where can we find this article?
I'm going to send it to you. I sent it to everybody.
You did?
Yeah, he sent it to
why
me.
don't we tell our
Oh, I guess you could tell
viewers so they'll know where to read your article.
Yeah, where can they read the article, Greg? You can put that in if there's a place online that we can send them to read your article. And so beautiful that he mentioned us.
Oh.
And our book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, and how impactful it's been. So we're very grateful, very grateful. Thank you, Greg. All right. So tonight, it is on LinkedIn. Okay, Greg says it's on LinkedIn.
So you just
Greg, follow Greg, Greg Kozera, Kozera, Greg Kozera, and you can see his articles, and you can see the one that he wrote for Valentine's Day.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, welcome to everybody. We've got a topic that came into us via email. We always encourage people to send the issues, their questions by email. And a lady did.
You know what? You just take forever to get to the bottom line. That's just how you are.
You're so cute.
You can't help yourself.
You're so cute.
You're just long-winded.
You're so cute.
You say the right things. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
She gave me the nicest card for Valentine's Day.
I gave me 3 different cards.
She gave me different cards. But this one, hubby, there's just something about you. Well, actually, it's several things. Lift hair, hot like a tamale. Laugh, your amazing laugh. You're fun. The way you listen. And then, did I mention your hotness? You turned me on.
That one was under his pillow. Let's not go over the other ones.
All right, we won't go over the other. They're kind of private.
Okay, so our topic is?
Okay, so the lady sends us an email and says that her husband left after 18 years. And her question was, what can she do about it? And so
we don't know the backstory.
We don't know why he left. That was the totality of the email. My husband left after 18 years. What can I do? And
you sent her the email response.
I did respond by email.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell y'all what I said. And then for those who are online live, you can pipe in, chip in, post
your thoughts. Because I'll share mine, which might not be the same as his.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's what I told him. I said, I've been in this conversation before a few times with women who I've met. Either I was speaking somewhere. One I met when I spoke at a chamber of commerce, and she said, I need to talk to you afterwards. Because I talk about my wife in every speech and how I'd crawl over broken glass to get to her. So both these women that I can remember most, I've had a number of conversations, but these two were profound. The first woman had been married a lot longer. She was older. I think she said she had been married 32 years and her husband left and ran away with another woman. The second one was younger. She had a small child, maybe at that point 5 or 6 years old. Her husband was her high school sweetheart. Mm-hmm. And they had the child, and then he decided he didn't want to be married. So he left. So I'll start with the second one first. She was devastated. And I told her, I said, let me tell you something. You must not curl up and die. Period. First thing I recommend you do is pray. You pray not just for this situation, but pray for yourself and pray for your husband. Pray for him. And then pray for the situation as well. Pray for your son. But most importantly, it's a mindset. You have to make up your mind that you're not going to curl up and die. You pray that your husband will come to himself and will get a change of heart and come back. But you're not going to curl up and die and do nothing and live just a pitiful life. No. And she said that encouragement had such a profound impact on her because she was in the midst of or in the process of curling up and dying. And I have seen her once that I can remember since. It was 3-4 years later, maybe a little longer. She had met a gentleman. Her husband went on his way. He didn't come back. But she met a gentleman who she said was the answer to all her prayers. Mm-hmm. Said he treated her well. He was wealthy. He was grateful. He found her. He had been through a bad situation. And she said, I'm happier than I could have ever imagined being in the first place with the first husband. She said, I'm just over the top. You're right. I did not curl up and die. Now, that was the first one. Second one was the lady who was older, who had been married for 30 some years. And I didn't tell her about curling up and dying. I just told her that she had she felt worthless. Okay. Mm-hmm. She felt worthless because after all these years, she said, I've given all this time, all my life to this man, and he leaves me for another woman. I think she said it was a secretary. I can't remember, but I do know it was another woman who he was working with. And I said, you know what? I'm sorry to hear that. Pray for him. Pray for you. Pray. Same thing. But think about your life bigger. Get a bigger vision of yourself and of your life. Get a bigger vision, and hopefully he'll come back to that. He'll come back into the picture. But if not, and I saw her a year later when I came to speak at the same place. Oh my God, she ran up to me. She hugged me and she gave me a big kiss on the cheek. And she said, my last year has been the best year of my life. I've been on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise. I've met new friends. I've been places I was very sheltered because as soon as we got married, I started having children. And I had 4 children. And I was always just in the process of raising children. She said, but now I'm living a life. So those are 2 stories. The last story is one where the lady, I told her to pray. I tell everybody the same thing. Pray for you, pray for your marriage, and pray for your husband. The last lady reached back and said, my husband came back. He came back and we worked through the problems. And come to find out, the reason he left was partly me, partly him. We weren't communicating, and I had a bad attitude. And she said, I know that now. And he felt he just couldn't live like that. Well, we don't want anybody to break up. Okay, that's why we wrote the book, Save a Million Marriages, Enhance a Million Marriages. But we know that marriages have stress points. And so in that process, what we want to encourage people to do is pray for each other. And as this lady talk to each other, and where there are problems, try to heal them, correct them. She said she sometimes had a mean mouth. Okay, she said sometimes I have a mean mouth, or I had a mean mouth. So, but he came back. They worked through it, and they were back together, and happily back together. So those are 3 stories. One didn't curl up and die. One found that the rest of her life was going to be the best of her life, and one, they reconnected. I hope all will reconnect. But I do say the same thing each time. 1, pray. 2, pray for the situation. Pray for yourself, and then pray for your spouse who left. And it might not be always man leaving the woman. It might be a woman leaving a man. I've had that happen too. Now, at that point, we didn't have the book. That was years ago. But the wife left the husband. And I told him to pray. I've always stayed with the same principles. Pray. And she came back. And they've been together since she came back 25 years or so.
Wow.
Okay, so all right, your take on this.
Okay. A slightly different perspective.
Okay.
All right. So the question was, after 18 years, my husband left. What should I do? Okay. And I thought about it, and I know you wrote the response, sent the email to the lady, and I did not.
Right.
Because why did not participate in that?
I don't know what your reasoning was. You were probably busy, and the fact you when it's something that has anything that might even touch on counseling, you're like, okay, Mr. Willie, that's your bailiwick.
I think you're probably, I say, more sensitive, more thoughtful than me, or you approach it more from a counseling perspective, and I don't have a counseling background. So let me just say that I don't have a counseling background. I'm much more pragmatic, and this is what came to my heart, and I really thought about this, right? And I realized that more than 20 years ago, this happened in my own family with my cousin. One of my cousins, who I won't name.
Right.
Okay. She had
had children. Let's just say leave it there.
Okay. And it was a surprise. It was a total surprise. He removed her access to the credit cards. She could not pay the mortgage because it required both incomes. And after she came out of being startled by this whole thing, she moved back with her mother, who was my aunt. Okay. So I am approaching this lady's question of, my husband left, what should I do? So my view is much more pragmatic, as I have looked in on what happened to my cousin. And it was very sad. Thank God she had her mama house that she could go back to with her two children. So I said, you need emotional support, you need banking support, legal support, and financial advisor support. Does that kind of say like where I normally sit, how I see everything through more of a pragmatic, a business lens? Okay. So I'm saying emotional support first. Go to your pastor. Go for counseling. What should I do? I'm emotionally upset, which is basically the part that you have dealt with.
Yes.
Let me pray about it. Who can I go to pray with? Your church family, the pastor, the counseling, what happened. We don't know any of that.
We don't know what
situation.
Right.
But I'm basing mine on the fact that I lived through it by watching what happened to my cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So first, emotional support that I could not help her with, but her family rallied around her and provided her with a place to live. Okay.
Right.
So what would I have said? What did I learn from that? First of all, I said one area, banking. Okay. So what do you know? The names, both names on accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a joint account and do you have an individual account? Now we talk about that somewhere in the book, that when you marry, you're blending everything.
Yes.
But we have household account and we have individual account.
But my name is on your account. Your
Yes.
name is on my account.
Right.
So that would not have really been an individual account. It's an account that is spearheaded by one person.
The household, our mortgage money, major bills, and the like come out of that joint account.
So they probably had
a
one
They
bucket.
probably had one bucket.
Right.
Okay. But the point was, she couldn't pay the mortgage note because he was no longer putting in there was not enough money coming in. So the foundation of a relationship is not just the emotional part, it's the nuts and the bolts and the financial stuff too. Okay, they had a house.
Mm-hmm.
Whose name's on the mortgage note versus who pays the mortgage? She could not pay the mortgage because she didn't have enough money in it. So she left the house that they had purchased together and moved in with her mother. So
my question to you is, see, I'm pushing back on all of your theorems.
She lost her house.
She lost the house not because her name might not have been on the mortgage, it's because she couldn't pay it. She couldn't afford it.
She could no longer.
All right. So whose name is on it is secondary.
So I should have said who name it, and that's different. Who pays the mortgage and whose name's on the mortgage is really different.
You said it took two people.
Wait a minute. It took two of them to pay it. But the question that becomes, did you know there's a difference in whose name is on the deed versus whose name is on the mortgage? I know I'm getting in the weeds, but did you know that?
Yeah, but that's not that. You're right. She could not pay it, so that's don't get in the weeds.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you access all accounts without the approval of the other spouse who has departed? In her case, no, because he had prepared and removed her name from the credit cards. Isn't that something? Because and all of their cards were joined. Isn't that terrible?
Now that one, I don't know how credit cards work. Whether you can,
but that happened. That was 20-something years ago. But
one person come in and shut down the whole credit card, and depending, I think part of that probably depended too on how they were set up. In other words, whose credit score was used.
Okay. But I'm saying it becomes really complicated once you add in the fundamentals of the monies. It's not just the emotional. It's not just you walked out on me. Oh my goodness. But now what? When you talk about how you continue to exist or to thrive. So you're working on emotionally, I've been left, but also you got a household to run or not run. That's what I'm saying in terms of banking. Then you got legal. Now the laws vary from state to state. What does community property look like? Do you seek advice on specific property rules for your state? Common law versus what? Tenants by the entirety or tenants in common? I know you're saying there's something wrong with my brain because that's how I operate.
Well, no, I don't say. I think these are pragmatic things.
These are pragmatic.
But here's what I would say the but is.
When you don't curl up and die, you cannot afford to curl up and die because there are all of these things, additional survival things that are going on. These
are preparation for a bad ending. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I would not say that. I would say these are some of the things that we should know about when we get married.
I think we tell with
and
this.
You know what? we know these things.
All right, let's go.
Because we work together, the business side and personally.
Well,
so I understand perhaps more than one who's just paying the bills. For example, there is one account, one business account that I cannot access because you're the securer of the loan. Do you remember that?
yeah.
And if there's ever a challenge, if
But we got rid of
what
that.
the interest rate
We got rid of that.
they have to say, well, I need to talk to.
We got rid of that.
But I'm saying that's out there.
Those kind of things out there. But that was a business because I'm the president and CEO.
I know.
And so,
but it still pisses me off that I could not. I'm paying the bills. I'm going over the detail. And I cannot answer that question for you because I have to speak to Mr. Dot. That pissed me off. Anyway, whose name is on the accounts? Who has access? I know this is important. I am telling you, this is important. So you need to check with your attorney. Everybody needs to have a family attorney. Check with your attorney to determine the specific laws of the states and what your rights are. You know, we're so much in love and we get married, and then there are all of these business things and decisions that are involved with us being married that we need to also focus on. It's more than love and having sex.
It's true.
Okay. And then I said a financial advisor for education. You said, well, do you really need? Most financial advisors as such won't talk to you if you don't have 250,000 or 500,000. It kind of depends upon how big the firm is. But banks do have financial advisors now also, and they're looking at how much money you have or don't have. But you can ask as a financial advisor, you got a 401k, or for your employer. Well, my spouse left me. I don't know what's going on. What are the rules as it pertains to, I've got a 401k? Is my spouse entitled to have if he never comes back? How do I protect myself?
Well, we do have another story where they divorced and the wife had to pay the husband part of her retirement. We've been with that too. We've had that conversation. So
and you have a Roth IRA. If you have a Roth IRA, what is he or she entitled to? If you have a Roth IRA, so what if you have an annuity? I'm not done. What if you have an annuity?
Oh Lord, I'm trying to get back to keeping them together in the first place.
I'm just saying.
All right, that's my goal.
Wait, you're focused on
keeping them together.
Prayer and keeping them together.
Prayer.
But he already walked out. Wait a minute.
I'm praying.
He already walked out. He may come back. We're prayerful.
We're prayerful.
But we have to have that secondary plan. I know you're not agreeing with me, but I'm saying
I'm praying for this family,
for
this wife.
For the spouse.
What do y'all say?
Wait,
what do you say?
For the spouse who has the children, you don't know what's going on. How do you protect your assets? You also
so Terrence just joined. He said his IG has had issues. The message today is a lady sent us an email. Her husband left after 18 years. She said, "What can I do?" And I told her she had to pray, and she has to pray for him, pray for her, and then don't curl up and die. That's exactly what I sent in the email. So we're asking people what.
And Terrence, I said emotional support, which is right, which is what Willie said. But you also have to be practical in terms of what are the legal ramifications, what are the banking ramifications in terms of whose name's on the mortgage note, whose name's on the deed. What rights do you have based upon the state that you live in terms of what happens to property? You have to also prepare. So you have the prayerful side. Yes, I'm praying. We can work this out. But I also have to be prepared just in case, because I've got children and family and where we're going to live and all this. And the backstory on this part is that my experience is as a result of my cousin having gone through something similar 20 years ago. And it was a surprise to her when her husband left. And he had taken her name off of the credit card. She went to charge something she couldn't charge, couldn't pay the mortgage note, and she moved in with my aunt, who was
okay. He said that's normal. My wife walked out after 25 years.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so how did you handle it? What do you say to this woman whose husband left after 18? You've got experience. I don't have experience. I've been with her since we got married. We are on 39 years. I told her if she leave me, I'm coming with her. So
Terrence,
anyway, what is your experience? What would you say to this woman?
Because you've been through it.
Okay, you still don't know why she left, but what would you say to this woman whose husband left?
How did you handle it?
How did you handle it? What advice or what counsel would you give her? She might be watching now. Tell me what you think, and I will read what you should say. Anybody else? That's the IG side. Anybody on the other sides, the Facebook, LinkedIn, or any of the other? Let's see, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter or X. If you have a comment, also feel free to email us your issues, your stories, your challenges, your thoughts at info@williejolley.com. info@williejolley.com. Terrence says follows God's word when it comes to separation. 1 Corinthians 7. And 1 Corinthians 7 is concerning married life. Okay. It's a whole chapter. So
what particular verse?
I know it's a whole chapter. It's a whole chapter about it. It basically says if they leave, let them go and don't mess with them. Okay, that's what he says. I'm gonna have to read it in totality to get the context. But I do know that Scripture does give it. I say again, pray for
their return.
Pray for the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Pray for yourself. Pray for your spouse, and be open to reconciliation. Which
means that you really need to understand why.
Yeah,
you got to have the ongoing communication.
But in the meantime, between time, do not. I say this to everybody: do not curl up and die. Do not curl up and die. And like the lady.
So how do you do not curl up and die? You need to be proactive, which goes back to. Well,
you got all of the proactive points. I'm saying the attitudinal part. Okay. I'm not going to shrink up and die and sit over in the corner and cry the rest of my life. No, I'm not going to curl up and die. I hope he comes back or she comes back. I hope, but I am not going to curl up and die. I'm going to live a life. I'm going to keep living. Okay. So, and Terrence said, some people wanted their spouse back only to be hurt. Okay. Or some murdered. I hope that's not the case, but
I hope that's not.
But that's when you get counseling. That's why I get counseling, and you get grief marriage counseling, and we think that's a big deal. Okay, so again, we're about to close up. Cheryl asked me to make sure to let people know we are going to be having sponsors for this program coming up, and so if you have a company, organization who wants us to promote them via our audience, then you can reach out to us at info@williejolley.com. Say, I'm interested in sponsorship, and we'll have somebody talk to you. Second, many people still enjoyed the XM show with me and Dee for Valentine's Day and have asked about the marriage repair series we did last year, and it is still available at jolleymarriage.com/events. jolleymarriage.com/events. It's 5 sessions with communications, love, romance, marriage, finances, money, family matters, and then blended families, and then a bonus session on the 11 biggest mistakes people make in marriage, the 11 biggest mistakes people make in marriage, and how to fix them. So, and thank you, Terrence. So this is a serious topic. That's why we talked about that quite a bit this morning. Whether we're going to talk about this, and it's such a serious topic. We weren't sure whether we were going to do it because there was no place where I could say, here's a definitive thing you can do. It was nothing I could tell her definitive to do, but I did know that I sent her some encouragement that she shouldn't die, that you live the rest of your life, and then pray for them. And so we decided to do it because there's somebody who probably going to see this, or somebody going to send this to somebody. And we tell everybody, please, and Terrence is our biggest promoter, and Greg Kazera and his wife Linda, they buy books, they promote this book, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. Terrence said every couple, whether married or not, should have this book. And Greg and Linda have bought copies galore to send to people getting married. So as you celebrate the Love Month, February, get 2 copies, one for you and your significant other. Do it today. Go to jolleymarriage.com. We'll sign it. Do it right now. Jolleymarriage.com.
How do I love thee?
How do I love thee?
Think about that and say that to your mate.
All right. Our time is up. Hope y'all share this, would you? Somebody might be struggling or in a situation like that lady and miss. I hope we answered your question.
And I hope my pragmatic pieces of information are helpful.
Yep. And Terrence said we are divinely connected. This was divine intervention for us to do this tonight. Okay, let's go out on the music from my jazz album, Close to You. You can get that at williejolley.com/jazz.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you.